For over a decade, Boko Haram has launched attacks in the Sahel region. The group launched its first series of attacks in Nigeria's Borno state. A report by the Tony Blair Institute says Boko Haram established power by exploiting social vulnerabilities. Chief among those is the low level of education in Nigeria's northeast. UNESCO puts the literacy rate for Borno state at 14.5%. The report urges authorities to prioritize soft power policy programs to combat the threat posed by Boko Haram. We are joined by David OTTO-ENDELEY, the Director on Security for the Horn of Africa Institute for Peace and Security based in London. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program. Let me start by asking you how literacy and a poor education aided Boko Haram's recruitment drive in Nigeria. David.
Yes, thank you. Of course, like many terrorist organizations, they always try to pounce on some vulnerabilities, and lack of education and low literacy rates has been one of the key areas that Boko Haram has benefited. Remember, it operates again in the northern part of the country. And by some statistics, if you compare the northern part of the country, for example, Statista.com in 2018 actually placed the literacy rate of the Northeast at 50 for men and 31 for women. The North Central had 72% literacy rate for men and 49 for women. If you compare that to the Southeast of Nigeria, which is also a geopolitical zone, you've got 86% literacy rate and for men and 79 for women. That cuts across the South. So indeed, the northern part of Nigeria, especially Borno state, which Boko Haram operates in, has a very low literacy rate. And that is why the talk of Boko Haram itself means Western education is forbidden, and that they used very well to attract a lot of people. And they made sure in some of the activities, they burned down schools, they kidnapped children, as we saw in 2014 in the Chibok kidnapping, and also they've targeted teachers. So indeed, they've used that very well to carry out their recruitment with children that are out of school.
All right, David, so you've shown how low literacy and poor education has aided Boko Haram's recruitment drive in Nigeria. Now, talk to us about the relation between illiteracy and militancy in Nigeria's context.
I mean, the argument has always been that people that are illiterate are idle, and once you're idle, then it's a devil's workshop, as the popular saying goes. This is no different from the militancy, but also the insurgency in the entire country in Nigeria. Most people that do not have an alternative source of income, they lack any other areas of engagement. They fall into the hands of militants or jihadists or terrorists or insurgents that promise them something very different. I mean, if you look at, for example, in the southern part of the country, where you have, these groups, calling themselves Niger Delta militias or of different forms and shapes, they pounce on these individuals that, don't have some kind of high level of education. But let us be very careful here that, we shouldn't say that there is a blanket link between militancy or indeed terrorism and illiteracy, because there are individuals, in fact, in huge numbers that have achieved the highest level of education. They've been to university, but still yet they choose deliberately to join these militant groups. So what else is lacking? Unemployment is one of the things that makes this really worse. So it's not that people are not literate, it's that they may be literate, but again, they don't have access to employment. So these groups will pounce on people that are, both illiterate and those who are literate, that have no source of income. So we've got to put that link, not just between illiteracy and militancy, but illiteracy, militancy, and unemployment, which is access to livelihood.
Again, important points that you've made there, David. Now let's talk solution. Nigeria has received 6 U.S. attack aircraft as part of the country's drive to crack down on jihadist insurgents. How important is this to their strategy?
Of course, these aircraft were delivered to Nigeria by the US, but these are Brazilian made. They call them Embra Brazil EMB-12 aircraft, the Super Tucano. Nigeria actually ordered 12 of them in 2008 of December, but they've just received 6 of them 3 years later. Now, you and I know the importance of aerial coverage. These are combat aircraft that are essential in any warfare. Precisely for Nigeria, I think they'll be used for counterinsurgency, to patrol the very porous borders within the country that have links to Niger Republic, Cameroon, Chad. So, I mean, this is another addition to the arsenal that the Nigerian government has, but one that is very important, especially now that Nigeria is faced with some kind of a renewed Islamic State of West Africa province, which now has very strong links with ISIS core. The government needs this aircraft, but of course, when it comes to operations, these are just equipment. You still need to have well-trained pilots. They still need to be serviced and maintained. You still need to coordinate with, for example, the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, which is the NIA, the DSS, also the Nigerian Army, which has to provide intelligence to the Nigerian Air Force in order for them to actually, launch their missions. But one key area, which I must mention here, is the fact that they've got to be very careful how they carry out precision airstrikes, because Nigeria has suffered previously from the United States refusing to sell them aircraft because of their human rights record. The government is doing something about that, but the delivery of this aircraft, from an operations point, will have significant difference positively to the counterinsurgency operations in Nigeria.
All right, David OTTO-ENDELEY, let's leave it there for now. This is a story that we shall continue to follow. We appreciate your insight and analysis.